So since then, we just stopped fighting because we're gonna be embarrassed in our school because we got all those marks in our body because of that fightings, and that's not good. We have to hide it in the family. But other siblings never had the same situation because they already saw the older sisters fight physically a lot and it was worthless, so we stopped. So the other younger one, we stopped, so it didn't happen. So the other younger siblings and the older siblings had a totally different experience. Even grew up in a different country, in a different age too. So I think it's so different. It's so different. So, but me and the closest, the two older siblings, we fight physically a lot when we are around 8 years old, 9 years old. We tried to not fight, and after that we stopped. We didn't fight anymore after all those injuries and the scratch marks, the things. But when we were around 8 years old, 9 years old, we fought often. We fought a lot too. Like tomboys, like gangs, like in the slum. Like we grew up in a ghetto. Like that. In some way, the older ones. The other one, the third one, the baby, it was totally different. And my mom sometimes hit because she was stressed by her husband. So the marriage is really important, really important. So yeah, my mom started hitting my younger sister too. When we were around 9 years old, 8 years old, when I was around that age. Well, sometimes when I was 10, 11 years old. But I knew how it was hard because being hit by the kids around the same age, around 1 year old, different. Between the kids and adults, it's different. So even I fought with my sister and my siblings. If my mom hit my younger sister, my younger siblings, I was always behind their back, behind her back. So I hold whenever she started hitting or kicking. No, it didn't go, the kickings, because when she started raising her hand, I was back behind her back and holding her hand. Te, in a JB language, te is a hand. And sure means hand language. Sure, it sometimes means God, but also in Onyomi, it's meaning of the hand in the JB language. Yeah, thanks for the questions. So anyways, so I hold her hand. That's what we do all the time, right? That's what we should. So when she raised her hand on the stairs, because one time I remember, there are so many times those things happened there, but there, in our first house, they sold that house, so now other family are living in that house. No more. My parents are living in the same house, but they are in that. It was in one of the first house. So but I was too short because I was a child. I was around 10 years old, not 11 years old or 10. Yeah. So I couldn't reach her hand. So it was around the stairs. So I went to that upstairs, used the stairs, and hold her hand so she could not hit my younger sisters and siblings. That's how we protected each other. So my mother was each time all the time angry because whenever she tried to hit my younger siblings, the older siblings, it can be like a book part, the older siblings always protected the younger siblings from their mother, because I knew how it hurt. Because when I was around 6 years old, 7 years old, there was nobody to protect me. But we started becoming ally, some of my younger siblings, a long time ago. Not anymore. Sometimes we don't talk now. Yeah, it's a different story. But yeah. So my mom said one time to me and my younger siblings, you guys fight all the time, fought all the time, but whenever like I start fighting with you or with your younger siblings, why you protect? You fight all the time, you fight often, but when I start hitting the kids, that you protect the other younger siblings. Maybe my mother was, that's what she said. Maybe she was amazed. And I'm so proud of. My mother was amazed, or maybe my mom was a little bit. Maybe the mother was, she learned something from her kids in that way about the siblings bond. Because I could feel that in that closed door inside our family house, the things happened like that. The things happened. Okay. But it was close to the window. On the stairs, there are windows. And next door neighbor in that house. And the 2 boys and 1 girl. The boy next doors, their husband and wife, they could hear all our argument and fight, the sound too. Because the window is next. Yeah. And sometimes their window is open too. Their bathroom. Yeah, their bath. The window is, yeah. So everybody knew, all the school people, because they talk to their friends on the phone too sometimes, and other friends also hear about. So pretty much, many people in your community, they knew that we fought inside our closed, the home, in a home situation. There are right, those are some of the family part of the, yeah, the other part of the story is me and my siblings bonding a lot in that way. That was great. Sometimes I even started enjoying bonding so strongly, like an army with my siblings too. Like 25, yeah, like 2 decades ago, like more than 20 years ago. That was a lot. And one time, after I was around 25 years old, 26 years old, I met one of my closest friends, one of the close friends inside TOKYO. As a code, maybe TOKYYO in a JP. One of my girlfriends. She was also sharing her story too. She protected her mother with her younger sister, with her younger siblings too. When her mother was being hit by her father, no, by her stepfather, because it was a DV inside the family. Even I didn't share my story to her. She shared her story, but it was exactly similar situation, because when she was a child, she and her siblings also bonded together and protected her mother when her father was start hitting. So they protected, they went inside those hitting situation, and holding the hand so that he could not hit anymore behind the back, protecting, because the dad not gonna hit the kids in that situation. Yeah, it was only one time, and it was the first time I heard the story from a real person. We had a sleepover together, the girls' night, often, a lot too. She was one of the closest, a good friend of mine. She's always a wonderful person. But it was my first time. It was my first time I met and talked a person exactly same, who had a similar situation with me when we were kids. It's like 17 years before, 17 years ago. That's kind of the story she told. I was like, oh my gosh, it's also one of my dreams came true. Because in my childhood, I felt like always alone in some situation. And I always wanted to meet some kids who had the same, like orphanage situation like that. Like domestic violence. I always wanted to get to know other people who had the same common like that. I needed to talk that person. I needed to get to know that person too. And when after, it was around my second marriage, there in the TOKYO area. So this woman I met, one of my closest friends, one of the good person. And sometimes now we don't have time a lot to hang out. Yeah, so I finally met a person I wanted to meet in my childhood too, to share, to hear her story too. I was in that way. I noticed it later, maybe a few days later after I heard her story from her own voice and from her own mouth. And after I noticed it, I was in that situation. I was really surprised. I was like, oh my god, it's like some of my dream, the things I was wishing, it's also came true like that. Yeah, came true like that. That was also surprise. Yeah, it was also surprise too. A big surprise. Yeah, a big surprise. So if you go outside, because around that time, when I was around that age, I went outside a lot and meet so many people and talked to so many people. Right now we should not, because on that street not so many good people, because we became a little bit famous. Maybe some people became a little bit like a celebrity in some between some companies, but yeah. So now internet is one of the best connections too. But meet directly to the person is really important. That's the way. One of my dreams came true. That's the way. If it didn't happen, some of the goodness never happened. So yeah, it's true. Yeah, thanks for the comments. I mean the messages. or the DMs. Sometimes, sorry, I don't notice the DMs.